Welcome to the Unity of Olympia podcast.
We're going to talk about life and death. The looser the grip, the lighter the load. Right? Man, that's a big lesson. Yesterday, I officiated a memorial service for a friend of mine. We opened with music, closed with prayer. Speakers shared stories from his life, and they were stories how he lived from his values. I had the honor of sharing his favorite Bible verse with everybody. It comes from the book of Micah. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. My friend Glenn was loyal, courageous, kind, and willing to walk humbly with his God. Those were his values in life. In the last couple of years, Glenn lost his eyesight, one eye at first, and then within a year or so, he was completely blind. But that did not keep him from living fully in the moment. He continued to participate in life, including pulling weeds from the garden, which his wife had to follow him about to make sure that those were weeds and not something that he himself had planted there on purpose. Today's lesson is titled Change and Challenge. We're finishing our 6-week series on the book In the Flow of Life by here.Through. The last 2 chapters are about aging and death. Woohoo! Now, here's what I have to say. I say that aging is way better than dying early. Yeah! That's a good one, huh? Yeah. So he says, here.Through says, if you flow with life, every year is a fascinating challenge full of adventure and discovery. If you resist the changes, each year will become a millstone that will gradually bend your shoulders and drag your steps. In the flow of life, there is a constant process of growth. At 40, you should be twice as well equipped to receive and use the blessings of life as you were at 20. At 60, you should be 3 times as equipped. At 80, 4 times. In the flow of life, time is not a drag, but an opportunity to gain in spiritual insight and beauty of person. He writes some nice stuff. This is about recognizing the difference between our relative experience of the world and that presence that is always within us every moment, moment to moment to moment. Because the presence experience just sort of tells us what's going on out here. But if we live as if the present experience determines who we are, then there's a certain level of dissatisfaction, frustration, and upset that sort of comes up. Anybody else have that experience? Life is for living, for being present, for keeping on, right? And one of the things I want to remind myself, and so I'm going to tell you too, so I remember better, is that I am whole, right here with everything that I have in this body, in this brain, in this life, on the outside and the inside. I am whole and complete. Together, I am whole and complete. Just as I am. Just as I am. Yes. Thank you. Welcome. So we've been conditioned in our culture to live life thinking that there's this beginning point, which is birth, and then we get to the end point, which is death. And then that's it. That's a sort of alternative to the Christian narrative that you go to heaven after you die. There seem to be these two choices. Isn't it so? I mean, mostly it looks like there's two choices in the general cultural awareness. Either you believe in something that has streets paved with gold, or you go to hell, basically. But I have a different understanding. My understanding of life is that we are made up of energy. Energy is a God quality. It is present in all of things. Life itself is a God quality. And the life that is present in this being does not die because it is made up of energy, because it is made up of this presence and power. Now, I'm not convinced that my personality gets to go with that energy source. But it might. I could be wrong. One of the things that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founders, believed was reincarnation. That we would all just live and move into a next stage of life, right? Or a next life, be born again. I'm going to find where that's... They believed in reincarnation, but they were not sold on the idea that studying it was particularly profitable. Because it's not about where you're going, it's about being present to where you are now, to being who you are now, to living from, identifying, knowing, and living from the values of your life here and now. Khalil Gibran wrote about reincarnation. This is from the Prophet. Should my voice fade in your ears and my love vanish in your memory, I shall return with the tide, and though death may hide me, forget not that I shall come back. A little while, a moment of rest upon the wind, and another woman shall bear me. For many people, this belief in reincarnation helps to create some sense of equity and justice when so many people on our planet are born into circumstances that really would keep them from thriving. The ability to thrive and grow, from Maslow, starts with being able to eat, to being physically safe in the world. And so, although I enjoy this idea of reincarnation, I don't buy into that one either. And this is one of the great things about unity, I believe, is that it's not about what I believe. It's about what you believe. It's about searching within yourself to find out what the word of truth is for you. What allows you to live into your highest and best values. What brings you into an experience of living life here, now, to recognize your own wholeness. Because in that place, you're a blessing to the whole world. I am whole. Together? I am whole. Right where we are, just as we are. Steve Kotler is a New York Times bestselling author and the executive director of Flow Research Collective. He's an expert on human performance and gave us the book, The Art of Impossible. In this book, he answers these questions. What does it take to accomplish the impossible? What does it take to shatter our limitations, exceed our expectations, and turn our biggest dreams into our most recent achievements. Just makes me do that. What does it take? He says we're capable of so much more than we know. And he's building this evidence-based word that he's sharing on research, on neuroscience, and 20 years of groups coming together that they, trick to do this research, right? It ends up, the short answer is it's all about flow. It's about staying in the flow, finding what it is that allows you to be an effortless effort. To do that is doing, that doesn't take pushing. I'd like to be in the flow more. Markers of being in the flow. Experience of time is different. It sort of disappears. Our intuition gets tuned up. We have total absorption in that which we are giving our attention to. And I was really pleased to hear this one. A frowny face. A frowny face. I'll tell you what, I've had so many staff people say to me, what are you mad about? When I've been working and I've been walking through the office, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm just working. I was so pleased to see that, even a frowny face. It's not about me. That is a common facial expression when we are in the flow. Who knew? Well, this guy knew, Stephen. Thank you, Stephen. So to grow into flow, curiosity and commitment. Now, Stephen says that his best times to be in the flow are the 60 to 90 minutes in the morning. He likes to wake up at 4:30 before anybody in his house is awake, and he likes to just commit 60 to 90 minutes and just see what shows up. His wife is a night owl, and so she does hers at night. So it's not like it's the same time and everybody for everything. I'm going to guess that there are people here for whom it's the afternoon, after your nap. Life is for living in the flow. Life is for living in the flow. Yeah? Okay. Life is for living in the flow. So I want to ask you to just check in and say, what is it that brings me into a sense of flow? What is your secret longing? What do you really want to do with your life? What's most important to you as a person? How would you like to spend the next 5 years? And how would you live if you had 6 months? Butterworth goes on to say, you need to have goals greater than life. The impossible, right? Greater than life. To see your own inner growth and soul expansion as the long-range goals to which you can give increasingly more time until in retirement, for those of you who are all still working, you can devote full time to it and with never a feeling of being rejected by life. Charles Fillmore was 94 when he affirmed, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm, and I spring forth with mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Okay, you want to try it? I'll bring it up. Okay. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. And I spring forth with a mighty faith. To do the things that ought to be done by me. I'm guessing that a couple of Charles's values were enthusiasm for life and faith and action. My most important values are freedom and joy. And I want to share those values. I want to live them and share them with others. Do you know what your values are? Can you name 2 right now?
No.
Love.
Forgiveness.
Passion. Connection. Wonder. I like all of them, but I really like wonder a lot. What was that? Harmony. All of these. Joy.
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Creativity. Love. Beauty. Peace. Nature. The God great outdoors. I love that one. The lazy boy. This is all about living from inside out, right? Knowing our values, being able and willing to age in a way that is of great value to us and the world. Eric Butterworth says, growing old is no more than a bad habit, which a busy person has no time for. He also said that when people ask him, how old are you? He says, my age is none of my business. Pretty good, huh? You can all take that on. That was a good one. No matter what your business is, or was, your true business will always be the business of releasing into the flow of God, manifesting in and as you. That's our true business. Life is for living. I am whole. Together. Life is for living. I am whole. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, comes from the end of Butterworth's book. Reflect much on the idea of the flow of life that cannot be locked into birth and death, locked in between birth and death. Break down the barriers by knowing that on the other side of birth is a flow of life that has come to pass. And on the other side of death is a flow of life that leads to new birth. Get the sense of being radiantly alive in a continuing and eternal experience in the flow. He goes on, then you can really begin to live one day at a time. You can live each day as if it were the only day of all eternity. Yesterday no longer exists, and tomorrow and the days of the future will simply unfold out of the continuous flow of the experience that is now and its unfolding. In closing, I want to share from the Tao, which Butterworth's book is based on. He wrote this book out of his study of the Tao. This is interpreted by Stephen Mitchell. True perfection seems imperfect, yet it is perfectly itself. True fullness seems empty, yet it is fully present. True straightness seems crooked. True wisdom seems foolish. True art seems artless. The Master allows things to happen. She shapes events as they come. She steps out of the way and lets the Tao speak for itself.